Want to know what it's like to wake up in suburbia and get threatened with a fake fine before you've even had your first sip of coffee? Or see a neighborhood queen crowned by her own ego, only to watch her get dethroned by the very person she tried to humiliate? Buckle up, because my Tuesday started with a toothbrush in my mouth and ended with a police escort, and I promise, you're not going to see the twists coming. Picture this, 6 a.m. The sky's still gray, and I'm standing in my bathrobe, barely awake, when a woman barrels up my porch, clipboard out front like she's wielding the sword of Justice Yoga Pants. Messy bun. The whole "I run this street" energy. You've got 30 days to remove that illegally plated vehicle. She shrills, pointing at my black Genesis, where the HOA's towing it. I was so stunned, I nearly swallowed my toothpaste. She didn't even wait for me to process, just called me honey, waved her cheap paper notice, and stomped off. My car's been legally mine for years, DMV plates and all. But apparently, Carla, the HOA president, self-appointed sheriff of Willow Creek, didn't get the memo. You'd think a fine would be official, right? Nope. By noon, there's a notice in my mailbox, printed on the kind of paper you'd use for kids' drawings. Threats. Fake laws. A $2,000 penalty payable in cash, or the car gets seized. My husband Marcus just shook his head and laughed. Guess you parked in the wrong neighborhood. Most people might have argued, maybe threatened back. Me? I just watched her strut away. See, Carla had no clue who she was messing with. I work in state DMV compliance, and my mom's the DMV director. But I stayed quiet. When people think you're powerless, they show their real face. Thing is, Carla didn't stop there. She jumped online, ranting in the HOA Facebook group, beware the flashy newcomers with their dirty money. She started knocking on neighbors' doors, asking if they'd seen suspicious activity. She took photos from every angle, paced the property line like she was planning a heist, and stories started bubbling up. Mr. Willis told me she'd towed his pickup last year for being too aggressive. Dana's son lost his motorcycle because it didn't fit the community aesthetic. Another family moved out after she made their lives hell over cracked paint. Carla's rulebook? All made up. So I started gathering proof screenshots, doorbell cam videos, neighbors' confessions, every threat Carla scribbled on her dollar store stationery. I saved. Marcus asked if I wanted to file a complaint. Not yet. I said, let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes. The next escalation? A wheel boot welded onto my car. Not city issued. I swear. She must have bought it off Craigslist and watched a DIY video. Slapped a new fine under the wiper. This time $4. $800. Stamped with a glittery, approved sticker like it was a middle school project. Marcus just snorted. I almost want to see what she tries next. Walking the dog that evening. Mr. Willis yelled from his porch. Last year, she had my truck towed while I was on vacation. Took weeks to get it back. That's when I realized Carla wasn't just power-hungry, she was a repeat offender. She'd been quietly bullying anyone who didn't fit her idea of community, and nobody had stood up to her. That changed at the next HOA meeting. Carla marched in, high heels stabbing the tile, thick folder clutched tight. As soon as the room quieted, she banged her packet on the podium. We have a growing problem, vehicle fraud. Our neighborhood is under siege. She pointed right at me. The crowd went silent. You could hear someone's phone buzz in the back. I didn't let her rant long. Carla, got any state documents showing my plate is a duplicate? She blinked. Stammered. Well, the public registry doesn't show it. So you just check the same website everyone else uses? Not the DMV system? She flinched. That's not public, right? Which is why you don't see encrypted plates for state officers. Did you even check with law enforcement? She couldn't answer. I turned to the board. Anyone here know the penalty for unlawfully impounding a state-protected vehicle? Now the air was thick with tension. Carla's face turned pink. Here's where the twist hits. While this circus played out, I teamed up with Rickme Minter from the DMV and Kelsey, a new neighbor who's actually an undercover DMV fraud investigator. We set a trap. Kelsey rolled up in a flashy red Tesla with vanity plates, just begging for Carla's attention. Sure enough, Carla started circling, taking photos, leaving warnings, and just like with Metrine to pry off her plates. But this time, we had drone footage, audio recordings, the whole 9 yards. Emergency HOA meeting time. I rolled in with a stack of evidence. Kelsey at my side. I played the footage. Carla, in her bathrobe at midnight, crowbar in hand, cussing at a license plate that wouldn't budge. The room gasped. I work in DMV compliance. I told them. This entire sting was state-sanctioned. What you just saw? Criminal tampering and impersonation. Carla lost it, screaming, "You set me up? This is a witch hunt." That's when the police officer, who'd slipped in quietly, tapped her on the shoulder. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for fraud and property tampering." The board froze. Half the neighbors burst into applause. The rest just looked relieved. As Carla was let out, she glared at me, pure venom in her eyes. But I didn't flinch. I just nodded. "Next time, maybe check your facts." After that night, the neighborhood flipped upside down. For the first time in years, people stopped whispering and started talking. Old fines were suspended, bogus charges refunded, and the board got a serious lesson in the limits of HOA power. I helped write a new policy: no more booting, no more towing, no more fake legal threats. Real rules, real oversight. The kicker? A week later, I drove by the DMV downtown and saw Carla picking up trash in a neon vest court-ordered community service. Talk about poetic justice. My license plate gleamed in the sun as I rolled by. Didn't gloat, didn't wave, just felt peace for the first time since moving in. But here's the thing: Carla wasn't finished. From jail, she tried sending anonymous threats, digging up old traffic citations, even recruiting a couple of her former board cronies to smear my name online. She's still clawing at any shred of power, still blaming everyone but herself. So, what do you think? Is there ever a good reason for HOAs to have this much power? Where's the line between keeping order and flat-out abuse? Drop your story or your take in the comments. Maybe you've dealt with a Carla of your own, or maybe you were the one who finally stood up and said, "Enough." Either way, I want to hear from you. Because if we don't talk about this stuff, it just keeps happening. In the end, I learned this: sometimes, the only way to beat a bully is to let their own actions bury them. And when you see a wrong, don't just complain, document. Act. And never underestimate the power of one person standing up for what's right.